All right, I'm going to try to get my board straight here. Stall for a few seconds and give some people time to show up here. Also make a little comment because for some reason, like half the comments last time that people were making were not showing up. I don't know, like half of them showed up and the other half didn't. So I don't know what's going on there. So the whole point of me doing Facebook Live is because I like the interaction. I like to read people's comments, but then it doesn't show me half of the comments for some reason. And I don't understand that. If you do, explain it to me. Or maybe there's some reason I don't know. I don't understand. Now, all right, I just want to get into this because there's several things. Every time I look into something that Hugh Squire says about this amazing life that he's had, the more it checks out, okay? So the more you look into it, the more you're going to verify what he says. At least so far. I mean, I have looked through a lot, you know what I mean? And there's nothing that I've seen to contradict what he's saying, okay? This is some interesting stuff, okay? He was talking about how Fletcher Nebel stole Bottom Line, the trademark that Hugh Squires for his publishing company, Bottom Line, stole this, okay? Now, Hugh talks about how so much of what is done in the media and in the movies marks his life in some way. And he was just leaving, I think, Las Vegas after the Las Vegas shooting happened. And now look at this. Fletcher Nebel. I'm going to spell it for you, okay? So you can look this up yourself, okay? We'll look it up on Wikipedia. If I got something wrong, feel free to tell me, okay? I don't think I did. So that's how you spell his name, okay? Now look at this. Look at when this sucker was born. You will not hardly believe this. This is freaking crazy. When was the Las Vegas shooting? It was on 10/1. And this is pretty easy to understand, isn't it? 9/11? Are they not related? Now get when this sucker died too, because if you understand the rules of gematria and numerology, it makes more sense. But he died (2/26/93). Now, if you understand gematria and the rules of numerology, the rule of Kalel says 1 off means the same thing. So put this together as 2/27, which is shorthand for pi. 22 divided by 7 is 3.14. Okay, so there's your pi right there. And look at this. Good heavens, it verifies everything he says. Flight 93 crashed in a field in Pennsylvania. Okay, and that's the same field where they dumped Hugh's body, his twin's body, when they killed his twin back in 1957. I'm telling you, every time I look into his stuff, it's like it's freaking amazing. I also want to make a correction because in the last video he said that Bob Graham, not Senator Lindsey Graham, warned Hugh of the Oklahoma City bombing in advance. So I got that wrong. He just said Graham. I assumed he was talking about Lindsey Graham because that's the Graham that I'm familiar with. Well, that Graham and Billy Graham, but he says Billy Graham has some interesting secrets that he's hiding too. So I'll learn more about that one of these days. Okay, now this article, I can't really show you that well. Maybe I can point my camera at it for a second and let you see what I'm seeing. Now, hopefully it's showing up okay. I'll hold it still for just a second. This is the article from Fox News, okay? And hopefully, let me see here if I hit, let me see if you're seeing it right. Yeah, so you're seeing it when I go to it, I think. It should be pretty clear. Let's back up just a little, make sure you're seeing it. Okay. We're going to get some of this information here. This is about Emma Fuhrmann, one of the stars of Avengers Endgame. Okay. We're going to do some a little bit of gematria on some of the, so you can see I'm not making this stuff up. Everything I'm going to tell you just out of this article, okay? So let's go back to here. And I'm going to give you a little gematria about how Hugh's life coincides with this article and what the heck they're saying. I truly think that I discovered something here, okay? Well, let's look at Hugh in gematria right now using the gematrinator.com if you're new, okay? Just you can go straight to that website, gematrinator.com, and all I'm using is the 4 base ciphers. I didn't use anything else. So what shows up when you open up that calculator is what you'll see if you punch in these words and hit return to put it down at the bottom to compare. Now look at Hugh. Hugh is 44, 26, 64, and 10. Okay. Now they are talking about how Emma Fuhrmann took a picture of a sunset and got in trouble with Marvel Studios. Okay, so sunset equals 64, okay? But it also equals 37. All right, and I'm separating them. They're not necessarily in the same ciphers every time. I'm just matching them up. You can go see which cipher they're in. I'm just matching them up so it's easier for you to see how they connect, okay? So 37. And Marvel is also 37, okay? And of course, we're talking about the Marvel Spider-Man movie and Endgame. So she is talking about both. She was in both of those. Okay, and Marvel also equals 26. Now look at this. Emma Fuhrmann equals 62. And the date of this article, 7/16, we'll just add them up. 7 plus 16 plus 20 plus 19 is 62. Hugh Squires together, look at this. And let's see, this is the 168th day of the year, or days left in the year. DLY stands for days left in the year. Hey, Daryl. Avengers Endgame, okay, one of the movies that she was in. Is 68. Infinity War was 68. They were talking about that one too. And Emma was in The Magic of Belle Island back in 7/6/12. Now this is important, okay, because Hugh Squires talks about how one of the drug runner CIA agents who was buying drugs on his property, a drug ring that he broke up on his property, the CIA assistant, his name or her name was Kiki, okay, and she was killed, and also Kiki, who was fiance of Hugh, was killed and was chained up to a tree on Belle Island in Michigan. My mom used to clean on Belle Island. Okay, I'm pretty sure it was Belle Island. And isn't it interesting that Emma was in a previous movie called The Magic of Belle Isle? They call it Isle, not Island. They don't say the word island. They call it Belle Isle. And that movie came out on 7/6/12. And from 7/6/12 to today, is 2,566 days. How old is Hugh? 66 years old. Now, Hugh, I know you just came on, man, and so I'm going to go ahead and just go over this again. I was talking about how Fletcher Neville, who stole Bottom Line, was born on 10/1/1911. 10/1 was the day of the Las Vegas shooting, and you had just left there. 1911 is like 9/11. And then Fletcher Neville died on 2/26/93. 2/26 in Gematria is 1 off by the rule of Colel, which is the same as 227, which 22 divided by 7 is pi, or 3.14, and not by coincidence. Yeah, and Flight 93, okay, he died in 93. That, of course, was the place where the field on 9/11, where the plane supposedly crashed and where Hugh's twin was killed and left for dead, or already dead, I guess, and was killed and thrown in that same field back in 1957. See how this all comes together? That's why every time I look into the Hugh's story, it gets more and more verified. Okay, it's amazing. And here, Gematria just verifies it even more. So let's go back over this again. Hugh is these numbers here, and like we were talking about Hugh 44, it's no wonder they're out to kill you. Your name is 44, for heaven's sakes. They'd be out to kill you if it wasn't, you know, if you didn't have all this. So, I mean, that's just like, you know, kill equals 44. So it's it's just amazing to me. Well, anyway, Sunset, from that article, and I sent you the link to the article in your chat, Hugh. Let's see, secretary in the White House. That was who was secretary in the White House? Oh, Furman. I mean, Neville. Yeah, Fletcher Neville. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to go back to this. They're talking about how Emma Furman, the actress, took a picture of a sunset at Marvel Studios, okay? And she got in trouble for it, supposedly. Well, because, you know, it's revealing where they're filming the movie or whatever. But this is what I think they're saying. Well, they're saying, Hugh's been saying, they've been warning him over and over, he's in big trouble. Well, Sunset is 64, the same as Hugh. In that case, in the same cipher, I believe. And also 37, like Marvel is 37, Marvel is also 26. Which is the same thing in reverse as 62, okay. Emma Furman is 62. And today's date equals 62 when you add the numbers together. Hugh Squires together equals 62. 168 days left in the year. Avengers Endgame is 68. And Infinity War is 68 as well. And since Emma Furman talks about how she was in the movie The Magic of Belle Isle, Michigan, and I looked it up. They were talking about the same Belle Isle, the exact same one in the movie as what Hugh talks about all the time. The Magic of Belle Isle. Well, Belle Isle is where Kiki, his fiance, if I got that right, was chained up and murdered. And if you get confused hearing me later, Hugh's had several wives murdered, okay? And fiancés. I think 2 wives and 2 fiancés, if I got that right. Now, going from the date of the Magic of Belle Isle, should put the magic of, right? So from the Magic of Belle Isle came out on 7/6/12. Today's 7/16/19. The day of this article is 2,566 days. And Hugh is 66 years old. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I think they're saying, they're trying to warn him, it's your sunset. This was on Fox News. So that's my theory. That's what I think. That's what I think this article was about. Sorry if I wasn't showing the entire thing there. So 7/6/12, the date of the movie. 7/16, the day of the article. 2,566 days. So this is a short video, but I wanted to get that out. And definitely when Hugh says they're marking him everywhere, okay, like he was born in 53 and Herbie the Love Bug had a 53 on it because he went to church with Walt Disney and knew Walt Disney personally. Well, that makes sense. You know, I mean, they mark him in his movies. When he says that the license plates were made by some people that went to prison, including the Beatles manager. The Beatles manager went to prison and made license plates in prison and told him, yeah, watch for our license plates in movies because it's going to mark your life. It's our only way of acknowledging you from prison. And included the Beatles manager and another guy who killed a police officer. And then you start punching in the license plates in the Gematrinator, and guess what they sum to? 35 and 53, like the video I made the other day about 35 and 53. It's unreal. How Golden Gate Bridge is 135, and the last scene in the Bumblebee movie is them going across the Golden Gate Bridge, which equals 135 in Gematria. And his license plate, L89 PCE, I think it was, equals 35 and 53. You know, just like the helicopter said 135.53. And then Hugh gets a call from McCormick when a helicopter, McCormick's the pilot of the helicopter, when the helicopter's crashing into the 54 floor. 54 by the rule of Colel is the same thing as 53. So 54 floor Sheraton Hotel. And he's calling Hugh. And Hugh shows the phone logs of all the calls that he made leading up to him actually crashing. And then while the crash was going on, you know, it's crazy. And then you see a picture of the fire trucks at the bottom, and they all have 54. And then you see pictures of on some of the buildings near there. I think maybe that building too had a 127 on it, not by accident. Remember, World Trade Centers 1, 2, and 7. And remember, Hugh's material, trademark stuff, was in World Trade Centers 1, 2, and 7 while he had a case with the Pentagon, and not long after he had testified before the Senate. You know, this is, you see how this all goes together? There's a big piece of this. If we run from this piece of history and we just ignore this component that Hugh has about 9/11 and, Kiki Nelson Kissel. So that was your fiance, right? 4 murdered and dismembered. Yeah, wives and fiancés. That is freaking crazy. And Hugh equals 44. So look at that. 4, 4, you know? And you've had 4 wives and fiancés murdered. And kill equals 44. That's a number we see all the time, you know? That is a number we use in so many decodes. So that's part of why it happens. And I'm pretty sure Hugh understands all this. I know it's not what he studied, but this is, he's pretty good at math. So I'm pretty sure picking up this stuff is a piece of cake. But it took me a while. It took me a few months of studying it, writing hundreds of pages of notes and all that stuff to get it all down. But I finally figured it out. And you can see right through these riddles. It verifies exactly what he says. So anyway, I'm going to stop it there. That's all I got to say about it for now. There's any more notes there? Let's see. Elon Musk's mother took over the cover when Kiki was murdered. Hugh, you say so many things that confuse me. I know they're connected. I can't see the connection perfectly. Kiki was the Maybelline cover girl. Okay, so there was another Kiki. Oh, yeah, no. Kiki, your fiance, worked for CoverGirl. That's right. Yeah, I remember that. And then, okay, now I kind of remember. Yeah, and then Elon Musk's mother took over the CoverGirl. Yeah, that's right. So she got that position once your fiance was out of the picture, right? Okay, I get it now. I remember. It's just so much to put together. My brain can only hold so much. But just so you know, look, just how many notes I have from Hugh so far. Okay, I mean, that's just and I can't write down everything he says. There's so much. That's probably, I don't know, I didn't count them, but that's probably 60, 70 pages of notes. Okay, but I can't remember it all. It's just, I keep reading over it and over it and over it and trying to commit it to memory as much as I can so I can put all the pieces together. But my brain can only hold so much, so I'm trying, Hugh. Yeah, history and hidden in all of American media. And it's no kidding. And this is what I want to say. I had another person just today try to tell me that, Hugh just has personality disorder or something, multiple personalities and all this stuff, on one of my videos and in the comments. And I was like, listen, I know I would expect anybody with common sense the first time you start hearing this, to say this is freaking impossible, the person has to be crazy. But then you start listening and you start putting the pieces together, and you realize that Hugh could talk for 10 hours straight and not stop and say all this stuff from memory with all these connections, verifies so much with all kinds of documentation to go with it, you know. And on top of that, has pictures of himself playing Chuck Berry's guitar that used to be owned by Elvis at one time. And you start saying, wait a minute, there's something to all this, okay? Even if he might, you know, I mean, when you're 66 years old and you've been through as much as you have, I would expect, you know, some things to get a little foggy or slightly in disorder a little bit. But to be able to just say all that stuff over and over and over again from memory, you can't lie and memorize it like that. It's freaking impossible. You can't lie to the extent that Hugh puts all this out, saying it over and over again. I mean, I don't, there's no way. You know, it's hard to just keep one or two lies straight. Try to keep all these connections straight if they were all lies. I mean, it's impossible, you know? And, gosh, I mean, I'm not really in a hurry to get off here, but it's just like every time I talk, it's just like it reminds me of more of your story. And I feel like I've only touched the surface of it, you know? Like when you're talking about how they, at your ranch there, they had, around your property, they had a CIA drug ring going on, and the drugs came from Noriega. And two people named Tom and Hanks were the drug runners, and also Oklahoma City bomber guy, the guy that they framed for it was one of the CIA guys buying drugs on your property. I mean, that's freaking insane. Like every single one of the big disasters, like you were like there or know about it or is connected to your life in somehow. Oklahoma City, 9/11. And of course, you know, the coal was connected to 9/11, as I've shown 1,000 times in the past. Gosh, you know, you connected to the JFK murders, to Jimmy Hoffa. Wow, his name actually stayed in my brain. I don't know what is wrong with my brain. It's like it will not hold the name Jimmy Hoffa in my head for some reason. It's like I've written his name 1,000 times here in the last few weeks, and it's like my brain just does not want to hold that name in my head. But anyway, Jimmy Hoffa is connected, and trying to think if there's any other big disasters or big shootings. Of course, Lucasville and Waco. I'd be curious if there's Lucasville and Waco were connected to each other. Obviously, they happened at the same time. I made videos on it. I'd be curious to find out if the Waco disaster and the Lucasville prison riot, which happened at the same time, have any connection to your story as well. That would definitely be interesting to find out. Yeah, I've seen your Senate letters. You were showing some in your video just a little bit ago. Absolutely amazing. You even showed like some royalty checks, that sort of thing. So yeah, they do. Okay, I'd be interested to see that. And Hugh, you mentioned in your video that you think something's going to happen on 11/3, and of course, I did an entire video on the number 113 and how Disney constructs, and so does NASA. They construct false realities based on the number 113. And I'm curious what you thought was going to happen on 11/3. So I'm going to give you a chance, if you don't mind, answering that, because I'm curious very much what you thought was going to happen on 11/3, because that number is pretty important. So okay, I'm going to scroll down here. For some reason, when the 11/28 and 11/3. Now, see, I'm gonna mark that on a piece of paper. Some kind of a lie. Well, yeah, that's what 11/3 means. That's what 113 means, a lie. You know, that's what the whole thing was. That's what the whole gematria of 113 is. So some kind of a lie about 11/28 will happen on 11. So okay, 11/28, 11/3, a lie about 11/28. Remind me what happened on 11/28, Hugh. I'm sure you told me, but 9/11 was because of a lie about 11/28. Okay. See, I'm writing that down too. Was a lie about 11/28. Well, definitely the 11's important. I see the connection there. Was 11/28, was that the day that the trademark was stolen? Is that what I'm missing? Hey, Earl. Earl's over there in Germany, man. Any information that we get over here goes overseas because Earl takes it right over there across the pond. Gets this information to a whole lot more people. I'll have to ask Earl if he wouldn't mind doing a intro musical for me so I can do a little introduction to bow and arrow videos sometime. He's a musician and an artist. It will become apparent in your future. That scares me, Hugh. I'll be paying attention. I'll tell you that. Okay. Anything else you want to tell me about it? It was the day I was murdered by Bush and the Clintons. Okay, so 11/28. What year was that? That was the day they put the poison on the coffee cup, right? And then, and apparently the pilot got into the poison too, and then the plane you were on wrecked in Michigan, not far from Detroit, if I remember correctly. 11/28 was the day I was murdered by poisoning. I'm writing all this down. All right. Earl, you missed a bunch of good information already. But you can always rewind. I'm telling you, Earl Hughes' story is amazing. It's the connection between... Oh, you listen to me in the shower right now? That's funny, Earl. Yeah, that'd be great, man. Yeah, I always thought about, I've seen some of the other YouTube channels. They have a nice little intro or something. I thought about maybe you can pay people on, I forgot the name of that site, but you can pay people to make a little intro video for you, and then you can send them the music too. So I'd probably just have like a little 15-second clip of me like shooting a bow and arrow or something, 15, 20 seconds or something. That'd be cool. So yeah, that'd be awesome, Earl. Okay, so Hugh, what year was that? 11/28 of what year did they poison you? 83, was it? That'd be interesting if it was 83, because murder equals 83. I don't know. Maybe I lost Hugh. I don't know. I'm not sure what happened, but if I'm not mistaken, I think he said it was in 1983. So, well, anyway, I'm getting a lot of dead air time on here, so I'm going to jump off here. So, all right, thanks for watching. If you're watching on Bow and Arrow, please like, share, and subscribe.